Well, good morning, good morning. Hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the circle. My name's Danny. Hope you're all doing well. Now, welcome to the circle. This is where the lighting is dramatic, the emotions are real, and the tech glitches are part of the charm. So if you can hear me, type banana in the chat, and if you can't, well, this is awkward. But seriously though, I'm glad you're all here. This is our weekly space to check in, speak honestly, and support each other. Whether you're here to share, listen, or just vibe quietly in the corner, just let me know that you belong here. Now, let's just start off nice and formally, because that's about as formal as we're going to get. How you're all arriving here this morning? Really? You doing good? If not, if you are, drop it in the chat, a thumbs up, whatever, an emoji, and we'll get started. So now, first and foremost, as it's the first, let's get all the background stuff out. So what does Got Your Back mean to me personally? Now, personally, this is a opportunity that I created, and a series I created because of what I saw and what I've experienced personally in my life with mental health and how people else are living with it. So, just to be completely transparent, I've been living with mental health issues since I was 27, now 44, so quite a while. It's probably been longer than that. I only got diagnosed at 27, but I think there was problems there probably in my mid to late teens that I didn't get addressed. I thought it was just me being me and teenage angst and whatever else. I've worked in, I do security. I worked in a hospital once, and what I saw there with various people coming in who you could see, you don't have to be a doctor to see that, they needed help. They needed help. And with the medical sector, especially the British NHS, unfortunately, it's stretched paper thin to a point of breaking when it comes to mental health and stuff like that. And, a lot of people weren't getting the help that they needed. And unfortunately, due to the pressures and things of mental health, how it can take a hold of you, that, these people are unfortunately not here anymore. And that's tragic. It really is. Anytime I hear of a loss to mental health, I take it quite personally. It feels like a personal loss to me. Not that I know that person in a personal level and stuff. I'm like, really? Come on. We could be doing better as society, as professionals. We could be doing better than this. I'm not saying they can save everyone. And I'm not saying I can save everyone. I'm no superhero. All I want to do is help someone. One person. It'll all be worth it for them. But obviously, anything starts with, the first one, and then it snowballs from there. But I just want to help someone who's in a bad place, and help them get out of it. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a counsellor, I'm not any sort of medical professional. I'm just a guy with some lived experience when it comes to mental health. And yeah, sometimes that's the better sort of advice you can get. A lot of doctors and professionals have never had a mental health crisis, never been diagnosed with mental health issues and stuff like that. So they're doing whatever they're learning, the university halls and textbooks, and I'm not knocking doctors for that. But there's only a certain amount you can do with that very skewed vision of mental health. It manifests and shows up in a million different ways, depending on the ailment or condition, whichever word you want to put on it. I hate the word condition or illness, with mental health and stuff like that. I think, we all can have, full and meaningful lives. We've just got to learn to live with it. I think there were a quote I said before, I read before, it was, we all have demons. We've just got to learn to live above them. And that was quite powerful for me. In my recovery, well, not recovery, but my handling of my mental health issues and stuff like that. I'm also fortunate I've got a very loving and supporting partner, wife, and some good friends and my family. I'm lucky I've got that, you know, because that really does help. Having that short support network of people who, you know, you could phone them at 3 o'clock in the morning, they'd pick you up, they'd pick up and talk you out of it and talk you through. Unfortunately, there's a lot of people also out there who don't have that support network, and that's why I started this, trying to get that support network for people who don't have one or who need a different outlet. You know, I've heard a lot of people, you know, your friends and your family, you know, will probably most likely tell you stuff that you want to hear. You know, sometimes a stranger's the best person because they're unbiased and they'll tell you what you need to hear. And sometimes that's when it hits you. You know, when someone actually tells you this is what you need. I'm not going to stroke your ego. You know, I'm not going to feed into this. This is what needs to be done. This is what you need to do. And this is what I'm telling you. And sometimes we all need that, you know, reality check. Like, you need to speak to people. You need to see a professional. You know, not everybody likes taking medication, but for crying out loud, if it's going to help, take some. You know, I'm in the fortunate position where I don't take it, and I'm not saying that out of ego. It's taken a long time, and it's a daily thing of what I like to call mental conditioning. Does it always work? 99.9% of the time, yeah, but there's also that one day out of 100 where I'm not, you know, not today. You know, things do get on top of me depending on what's on life and stuff like that, and what's been triggering that sort of response from the mind. So that's what Got Your Back means to me personally. It's should we say it's like a baby to me. I want to nurture it. I want to see it grow into something beautiful, and something supportive, and something people really care about. You know, I'd like to hear everybody else's stories. You know, keep it brief if you want. You can go into detail if you want. But whatever you're living with, and if you've got that good support network, I'm happy for you, I really am. And if you haven't got that support network, I just want you to know I'm here for you. We all are. We're building a community where we won't turn anybody away, regardless of age, sex, creed, colour or sexual orientation or religious beliefs. It doesn't matter. If you're having issues and you need someone to talk to, come and talk to us. We will answer. Now, have you ever stayed silent when you wish you hadn't? Yeah, I think that feeds back to my own personal story. If I'd have spoke up sooner, yeah, it probably would have, things probably might have turned out different than they did if I'd have spoke up day one, where I knew there was something wrong, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Yeah, probably did. A lot of things might have changed. But yeah, I do encourage everybody to speak up and speak out. Seek a professional, a friend, a family member, a work colleague. But just don't bottle it up. Bottling up poison will always end up being toxic, and it will just poison your system, your mind, and everything. Empty your mental trash can every day if you can. You know, things like journaling. Something when I first started my sort of recovery, that was one thing I did religiously. I put everything down on paper in a little journal notebook, and once I stopped reading, I closed the book and put it somewhere that I wasn't going to pick it up again. Put it under my mattress, I believe it was. And don't read it back to yourself. That's what emptying the mental trash can is to me. Put it on paper, then don't read it back. You want to get all that negativity and then bad thoughts out of your head. Keep it clear. Another thing that helped me as well was learning how to meditate. I do guided meditations a few times a week now. It used to be every day, but I'm down to 3 or 4 times a week, maybe more if I need it. But yet again, fantastic creators on YouTube and stuff like that. There's some fantastic hypnotists and therapists and stuff on here doing great guided meditations. People like Jason Stevenson, The Honest Guys, Michael Seeley. Search them out, and they do guided meditations and things like that for every sort of thing. There's hundreds of videos out there. There's resources out there for everyone. And another thing that got me helped, well, should I say helped myself, was classical music. Now I know that's not everybody's bag and everybody's cup of tea. I get that. I was one of them people. But through certain composers and stuff, it helped. And now it's actually my favourite my favourite kind of music to listen to. Not just when I need it, it's all day, every day pretty much. So yeah, if you are a classical music fan, you know, drop your favourite pieces in the chat, favourite piece of music in the chat. Maybe we can do a playlist with them, or another video outlining what they sound like, and maybe even reviewing them. You know, let's have a bit of fun with that. You know, moving on to, you know, what's one thing people wish understood about the people understood about my experience. Well, you know, my experience was very varied. It went from having a big support network where I can talk to being completely alone. Not just feeling alone, actually being alone, living by myself with it and stuff like that. And it wasn't something that was, you know, something that was easy to take. It was a situation I was in, and I had to get myself through it, and it was difficult. Way back then, it was really difficult. Fortunately, I met my now wife, you know, 13 years ago now, nearly 13 years ago. And if it weren't for her, I probably wouldn't be doing this. I probably wouldn't be here. So it's all about having that one person there who will be there for you through thick and thin, whether that be partner, wife, husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. Could be your best friend or anything like that. If you've got at least one good person in your life who'll listen and not judge, you know, you're in good standing there. You know, so my experience was also very dark for a lot of the time. You know, I was very, very negative for a long time. There was nothing ever good that could come out of a day, and I spewed that over everybody. And you know, all them years ago now, I look back and I'm like, Danny, what are you doing? What are you doing? If I could meet my former self, like I call myself that, but if I could meet my former self, I'd have probably slapped him. Like, come on, sort it out, get it together. You're better than this. That sort of chat. And sometimes we need that. Somebody to give us a brutal reality check. I'm not averse to out getting one from someone, and I'm not averse to giving one. When people need to be, you know, sorted out when they're spiraling. Some people just need to, you know, tell them, look, this is it. This is you. This is something you have to do. Nobody else is going to do it for you. It's all on you. Your mental health. You know, get the help and stuff, but the actions taken to help yourself, it's got to be done by you. Now, what I'm trying to do with Got Your Back is to build a supportive community. You know, every day, every person. You know, doesn't matter, like I said, your age, your creed, your colour, doesn't matter. Everybody's welcome. You know, everybody's got their own experiences. Everybody's got their own advice, hints, tips and tricks. You know, so I invite everybody from every walk of life to join us in the Got Your Back community. And because you don't know when you could help someone, and I think that's vital. You know, it doesn't matter if you could be late teens, you could be mid-70s. I don't care. You want to join us, you want to try and help, let's come in and try and help, and I'll welcome you warmly. That's what supportive community, and then we'll get that round our local areas and towns. I'm in Peterborough, but Got Your Back through the communities, get us noticed. I don't want to be internet famous, I don't want to be a billionaire or whatever like that. I'm not doing it for that, I'm not doing it for the money, I'm doing it to help. And that's why we're looking down the non-profit status, charity status as well. It's something I'm working on behind the scenes and stuff like that. It is a long process, unfortunately, but there will be updates on that as and when I've got them. I'm still looking for trustees as well for the charity organisation as well, so if you're ever interested in that, you know, drop us a chat, drop us a DM, whatever, and we'll talk about that. So, you know, what would you like to see in future episodes of The Circle? What would you like me to bring up, talk about, or even a certain topic? You know, this is something that I want. It's not just my ideas. I want everybody out there who can see and hear this, make sure that they've got an input on this show every week. That's what I want going forward. It isn't just me. And if you'd like to come on and speak and join us and have a conversation, again, invitations there. And we'll have a decent chat about what we'll organise, and we'll have a chat about stuff mental health wise and going forward and stuff like that, what more can be done in society and by Got Your Back as a whole. Now, if you are hearing this and you're enjoying it so far, drop us a like on the video. Share it. If you want, you can share it with someone who needs a circle like this, who you think could benefit from this. And also subscribe to the channel so you never miss a week, you never miss an episode of the circle, and you never miss a weekly video that we put out regarding mental health going forward. Now, as it's the first one, I don't want to take too much of your time, so closing out, I just want to ask if you can name one thing that you're going to be carrying forward into the coming week from this episode, from today's circle. If you could pop that in the chat as well, I'd like to hear some responses, what you're going to take away from it, because that'll help me become better going forward. And going forward, we'll have a weekly show. It will be different every week due to my life commitments and stuff like that, my work commitments as well. I also still work full time. But the announcements will be coming out across all social medias where we're at: Facebook, Instagram, X, TikTok, all them sort of places. You will see announcements for the next episode. I'd love you all to be there. Invite your friends, family, stuff like that. The more people we have, the more voices we reach, and the more people we reach, the better for it. So just to close out, and everybody who's been here, you're not alone in the circle, especially this circle, and I'll see you next week.